Hello and welcome to this Modurol video. This is MT29 in our series of videos detailing our manual transmission swap of our Jaguar XK8. And in this video I'm going to try and explain why we've done the massive change to our project. And I won't keep you in suspense. We've changed the gearbox that we're going to use. And in this video I'll just try and explain the logic of why I'm not going to continue using this Aston Martin Tremec gearbox. I'm going to swap to the S653, the ZF gearbox. And we'll unpackage this. This big lump has arrived this week. So we'll do a quick unboxing of that, and I'll try and explain the issues we're having, or we still had to contend with this gearbox, getting it to work in the XK8, and how the ZF is that much easier. Oh, and I've also had another delivery, which we'll probably cover in the next video, which is Glenn Nielsen's MCM, which is the CAN bus solution, which is thanks very much for Glenn for sending us that, but I think that deserves its own video, so we'll do that next. Okay, first then we'll do an unboxing or unwrapping. I haven't looked at this yet. I'm hoping it's what I've ordered, so let's take a look. This has actually come all the way from Spain. These aren't that common. Most of the Jaguar enthusiasts have already snaffled them up. So I've had to go a little bit further afield for this one. So there you go, that is a ZF S653 as used in the S-Type Diesel, the one that everybody talks about. Okay, let's have a quick walk around and see what we've got. Okay then, let's have a look what we've got. Front end then, oh right, okay, so I've got a slave cylinder, but chances are that's no good, but we'll change that out. Anyway, we've got one of those. Got all the pipe work. I'm going to fit the clutch sensor on there, so that's handy. There's a sensor on the top here. I think that's a temperature sensor, but we're not going to need that. Okay, this is the gear shift position. Looks like they're just roughly, they haven't even bothered flicking this off. There's just some quick release things on here. Why you want to grind that off, they've actually destroyed that, which is a bit of a pity. And this has got a bent pin, but I don't think we need that at the moment. Interestingly, they've just ground the drive shaft off. Not much care taken with this disassembly, but the good news, I've got the Jurid coupling, so that's one thing less to worry about. I've got one of them. On the other side then, there's just the reverse sensor, which I'm going to need, and that's it. It doesn't look that bad. I bought this, as I say, from Spain. In theory, the car had done 78,000 miles, so hopefully it's not worn out, but you never know. There's only one way to find out. Okay, so I've made a bit of a list here of all the problems I still had to address on the Tremec, and I'll try and explain why that all added up to a good enough reason just to swap to the ZF gearbox. So I suppose, first of all, as I said on the last video, the straw that broke the camel's back really was the prop shaft slip yoke didn't fit. It's the wrong one. So that put a whole question about, is this actually drive shaft suitable for the application? It's a bit of a schoolboy error. When I originally bought the kit, or the parts, the collection of parts, I wouldn't say kit, I should have tried the drive shaft in the gearbox straight away, but I assumed it'd be okay, and you know what assume makes of you and me. So that was a real problem. Now, if you look at the same instance on the ZF, you don't need a custom drive shaft. You can just use a standard 4.2 litre drive shaft from 2003 onwards. Plus, on my drive shaft, there was no actual Durid coupling, there was no rubber in the drivetrain to actually take up any shocks. Whereas you can see here, the ZF version has the coupling, and by using the standard drive shaft, I can utilise that. So overall, it makes it more refined. We'll have a look at the flywheel. Right, we've come to the other end of the gearbox to discuss the issues outstanding utilising the flywheel that came with a collection of parts. It's fairly simple. There's a thin flywheel bolted to a standard drive plate for the starter motor. But the problem is here, there is no actual pilot or a spigot bearing to take the input shaft of the gearbox. So I think in this application with the Tremec, you've actually got to put a bronze bush in the crankshaft, which in itself is quite tricky, I would say. However, when I use the ZF gearbox, there's several people actually developed flywheels with the spigot bearing or the pilot bearing already incorporated into the flywheel. So basically, once you've bolted the flywheel on, you don't have to worry about the spigot bearing. So that's another reason to go for the ZF gearbox. Now, I have actually put an order in with Tom Lenthal for the flywheel for this application, so we're just waiting for that to come. Next then is the slave cylinder, or concerns about the slave cylinder. Now the slave cylinder then, I had some concerns about this particular one because it's literally just loosely bolted to the back plate in the sort of adapter plate, and it's not actually held concentric to the input shaft of the gearbox. So I was a bit suspicious of this basic slave cylinder, but as you can imagine, with the ZF gearbox, it utilises the standard release bearing, so it's another problem I don't need to worry about. Obviously, I'll probably replace that one on this one because it is probably worn out, but it's another problem that in theory I've just got to buy the part, don't have to start worrying about or how it's going to work. Next then, let's take a look at the gear shift, which is what we'd looked at in the last video. We're back down the other end of the gearbox. Okay, so next then is the gear shift, and I've done a couple of videos on the amount of wear and trying to make everything quite stiff and positively change gears with this application with the Tremec, and it's all a bit compromised. It's all sort of custom. It might work, but it's not particularly refined. Now with the ZF gearbox, and I've actually bought the shifter actually just locates on the back of the gearbox. It's got movement in the Z naturally, and there's rubber bushes everywhere. It's got bushes in the end where it attaches to the gearbox, and there's rubber bushes in the actual back mount and obviously in the gear stick itself. So it's going to be more refined overall. So obviously I will need to adapt this, but it seems like a much easier prospect than spending more and more time on this shifter and actually not getting a nice gear shift. And what I would say, this gear shift mechanism has been used by several people successfully. So rather than, I think one of the guys, I do read all the comments on the channel, and somebody did comment and said, why are you doing the Tremec gearbox? Because albeit it's unique, there's no value in it. And I think there's a lot to be said to that, and that's one of the things that really made me change my mind, really, that I could all be very clever and get it working, but nobody will ever want to do it again, and I wouldn't advise anybody to do it either, unless it's for a race car, in which case it's going to be quite good. Next then is still keeping with the gear shift, is actually the reverse lockout, or the problem with reverse. On the Tremec gearbox, reverse is actually in a very strange position. It's up on the top right, just after fifths and sixths. So there is a concern with this gearbox. You can actually put it into reverse while you're travelling at quite a high speed, i.e. going from fifth straight up into reverse. And if you drop the clutch, it's going to be pretty catastrophic. And there is a mechanism that we're playing with to stop that happening. But on the ZF gearbox, reverse is in the standard position on the top left, near first and second. So if you were inadvertently to put it into reverse, it wouldn't necessarily be that catastrophic. Next then is the gearbox rear mount, or the rear transmission mount of the gearbox. Next then is this rear transmission mount. So on the collection of parts, I did actually get this Klingon bracket, which actually is part of the rear transmission mount, but the actual isolator is missing, so I've got to try and work out what that's all about. But again, on the ZF application, you just use a standard 4.2 litre transmission mount with the appropriate isolator, and it bolts straight on in position. So why would you go to all the trouble of designing something else? So you can imagine. Then finally, the one critical thing is that this doesn't need a special diff. So on the ZF gearbox, the gearing is such, ZF gearbox, it can work with a 3.06 differential, which is a standard diff on the XK8. Whereas the ZF, so where the Tremec needed a 4:1 diff, which I've actually bought, it's over there. I'll have a quick look. I'll show you a picture. And so it could be a lot cheaper. The advantage was that diff, the 4.4:1, actually has got a limited slip in it. So, albeit I don't need that now, I still want a limited slip diff. So I'm in conversation with Ben at Simply Performance to try and trade that in for a 3.06:1 diff with the QOF, is it QOF limited slip diff? So that's another good reason to swap to the ZF. The gearing and the diff is all standard, albeit I'd bought the diff. So try and minimise my losses here a bit. So before we finish, the one thing that is discussed a lot is the fact that with a ZF gearbox you need different cats. I don't know whether you can see here. Well, we'll have a quick look. So I don't know whether you can pick up here. The bell housings That's on the Tremec application. That's actually got a standard automatic bell housing attached to an adapter plate. Here you can see it's slightly fatter at the front. This ZF Diesel gearbox mounting point. So it actually fouls the catalytic converters. So I don't know if you can see here, the catalytic converter sits about here on with the standard bell housing, whereas on the it actually fouls. It sits just, and it fouls with the bell housing on the ZF Diesel. So I've actually the lads at Swallows Jaguar make those high flow skinny cats. I think it's 360 cell catalytic converters. So I've ordered a pair of them from those guys. So hopefully they'll come soon and we can bolt it all together. So overall, I think you can see how with the Tremec box, I had the gear shift to sort out, the reverse lockout to sort out, the pilot bearing, the push out bearing, or the slave cylinder for the clutch to sort out, the rear transmission mount, the fact that the whole transmission drive line didn't have any rubber in, it all just added up to, sorry, this isn't the correct application for me. I'm looking for a refined XK8 road car, a fast road car, not a race car. I'm looking to sell this gearbox, and if anybody is interested, give us a shout. It might be something more applicable to a race car, where you can bolt everything solid, take all the rubber isolators out of everything. It's not such a big issue. It actually is more helpful. But for my road application, fast road application, I think, well, I know we're changing to the ZF gearbox. Okay, there you go. That's me trying to explain why, after all the effort of trying to get this Tremec gearbox to work, I've given up. And I think my time would be far more productive working with the ZF S653 gearbox, and we'll probably get on a lot further, a lot faster, and it'll be a lot more refined and better in the end. It's something Stephen at PVE warned me about right in the beginning. So sorry, Stephen, I should have listened to you right in the start and junked this and gone with the ZF box. But anyway, you live and learn. So that's it for this video. As I say, I've had another delivery. I've been ordering loads of parts. It's been great. It's just been like Christmas. Every day something new's been coming. I've got a drive shaft somewhere to suit. So I'm getting very, very close. But as you're aware, this project hinges on the car not going into limp mode. So this is where this little box comes in handy. This is the delivery of Glenn Nelson's MCM, the manual control module. So this is the little box of tricks and wiring loom, hopefully in here, all the way from Dallas, Texas, in the USA, that's going to help me overcome that. Thank you very much for Glenn for sending us, and we're going to open that and try and explain how it's supposed to work in principle for anybody interested. If Glenn is actually making these for anybody who's interested, so if you are interested, please contact the channel and I'll put you in touch with Glenn. Okay, there you go. You can imagine it's been a very exciting couple of weeks. Some tough decisions to make, not financially the best ones in pursuing this. Obviously, I've put a lot of money into this, and I'm going to have to spend a lot of money in the application I've picked. But thanks for the guys who've been supporting me. I say Ben at Simply Performance for helping me out with, in principles, trading in the diff. Thanks for Tom Lenthal for actually offering to make me a flywheel. That's on its way, and thanks to Chris at Swallows Jaguar for offering to make the pair of cats. So the Jaguar community is coming together to help me, and as I say, I'm not going the ECU mod, the ECU standalone ECU at the moment. I'm going to give Glenn Nielsen's MCM a try. I think for what I need, I'm looking for a fast road application, nothing major. It is an XK8 after all, it's not an XKR. So hopefully I won't be giving Stephen a call at PVE, but you never know. See how things go. Anyway, I'm rattling on and on. I hope you're finding this interesting. It's both interesting and I'm losing a lot of sleep, to be honest. If you're interested in the car or have a car, we do have a website with loads of free information, and if you've got a problem with your car, you can ask it as a question. We'll try and answer it. If we've had knowledge of the issue before, we can let you know what the common answer is, or put you in touch with somebody who might help. There's a massive community of enthusiasts out there that are quite willing to help you. Anyway, enough of that. Please like, comment, share and subscribe for more XK videos. Bye bye.